Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. City of Selma Planning Commission meeting for September 23rd, 2019 is now in session. Commissioner Gonzalez, would you lead us in the flag salute, please?
Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Curry,
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Here.
Commissioner Fedor,
Here.
Commissioner Singh,
Here.
Chairman Niswander.
Here.
We have Chairman Sekan not here.
Commissioner Sakan's not present.
Not
and
present.
Commissioner Garcia is not present.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, members of the commission, staff, ladies and gentlemen. Planning Commission is now in session. Copies of the agenda for today's meeting are in the entryway on the table by the door. You can help us expedite tonight's hearing by following these rules and procedures. Everyone will be given an opportunity to be heard. When it is your turn to speak, come to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record. The applicant and those in favor of the application will speak first. Then those opposed to the application will be heard. After that, the applicant will be given time for rebuttal, and if necessary, those opposed will be given the opportunity to surrebut. We ask that you limit your presentations to 3 minutes or less. This should be more than enough time for a well-organized presentation. The chair reserves the right to limit testimony and will exercise that right in the interest of others who have business before the commission. After all speakers have been heard, the hearing will be closed. At that point, additional comments from the public will not be allowed unless one of the commissioners asks that the hearing be reopened. Finally, the commissioners will discuss the application, make motion, and vote to reach a decision. If you are not satisfied with the commission's decision, you may be able to appeal the decision to the City Council. Appeals must be filed within a specified period of time after today's hearing, and you can check with staff for the procedures to follow in filing your appeal. Please make sure all your mobile phones and pagers are on mute. Thank you. Potential conflicts of interest. Any commissioner who has a potential conflict of interest may now identify the item and recuse themselves from discussing and voting on the matter. We all good? Oral communications. This is the time any member of the public may address the commission regarding any item over which the commission has jurisdiction. No action or discussion will be taken on any item not on the agenda. Issues raised will be referred to the chairperson for review. Members of the public shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Under regular business, I'm going to pull from tonight's agenda the election of the vice chairperson of the City of Selma Planning Commission, and we will hold this election when we have a full complement of the commission. Consent calendar. All items listed under consent calendar are considered routine. The complete consent calendar will be enacted by one motion by roll call vote. For purposes of discussion, any commission member may have an item removed from the consent calendar and made part of the regular agenda. The commission can then approve the remainder of the consent calendar. Item 1, Part A, consideration and necessary action on the minutes of the July 29th, 2019 meeting. And you will have 2 sets of agendas, one for July, one for August. The ones that are stapled are a revised version of what's in your packet. The revised version is more complete and correct. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve.
You want to approve the minutes as
The
printed?
minutes as the amended
Okay,
set.
thank you. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? We want to do this with a roll call vote.
One second. Commissioner Curry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Fedor,
Aye.
Commissioner Zing,
Yes.
Chairman Niswander.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 1, Part B, consideration and necessary action on the minutes of the July 26, 2019 meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the August 26th meeting as printed.
I have a motion.
I do second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Curry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Fedor,
Aye.
Commissioner Zing,
Yes.
Chairman Niswander.
Yes.
Thank you.
Public hearings. Item number 2, consideration of site plan review, pre-zoning annexation number 2019-0013, and mitigated negative declaration resolution number 209-07, recommending to the City Council approval of site plan review, pre-zoning annexation number 2019-0013, and associated mitigated negative declaration filed by Self-Help Enterprises for an 84-unit apartment complex that includes open space and a community center on approximately 4.21 acres. The project site is owned by Karen L. Cerruti and is located in the unincorporated county area within the city's sphere of influence. Continued from August 26, 2019 public hearing.
Thank you, Chairman. The item before you this evening is, as you said, continued from the August public hearing. So this evening, I'll just focus on a couple changes and a little bit more information that has come to light since our last public hearing. The project is located on the north side of Dinuba Avenue between Wright Street and South Thompson Avenue. The proposal includes annexation of the property, a pre-zoning, and a site plan review. The CEQA determination for the project was a draft mitigated negative declaration. The site is general plan designated for high-density residential uses, and the pre-zoning that is consistent with that general plan designation is R3. The proposed project is consistent with the general plan.
One moment, Kira. You folks that are standing, there's a pile of chairs over here if you want to help yourself so you can sit down. Continue, please.
After the August public hearing, we did receive some both written and oral communications from the public and the applicant. Included in your staff packet this month is a letter from the public in opposition to the project. There are 2 emails from the applicant in support of the project. There is also a letter from the Fresno County Rural Transit Agency in support of the project. The 2 items that have been added to the record that are presented to you at the podium at this time are, one of them is a letter in, it was just presented to me, but it looks to be in support of the project. And then there's also the CEQA documentation. The CEQA document was included in your August packet, but it was erroneously missed by me in your September packet, but the document has not changed at all. All of the text is exactly the same as it was last month. So I won't go into reviewing what the letters and emails say because they speak for themselves. But I will go ahead and address one specific concern that the commission had, and that's traffic. And I did want to let you guys know that we do have our city engineer here, so we will be able to fully answer any questions you have in related to traffic impacts this evening. So just in a quick summary for traffic, the project was evaluated with the ITE trip generation manual. So this is a manual that's used across the board, across the country by all traffic engineers. And with that manual, they set up averages for projects. And in this case, it's a multifamily project. And given the averages, the project would result in approximately 47 a.m. peak morning trips and 56 p.m. peak trips. A typical threshold across many jurisdictions to trigger a traffic study for a project would be 100 trips. And in this case, planning and engineering did not request a traffic study of the applicant given the low number of peak trips that we would expect this project to generate. There was a traffic study done for V5. Can you remind me that they had a PM trip of I want to say 147? 191, okay. So that project is at Dinuba and McCall, and they did do a traffic study. And what we found upon reviewing that traffic study, because it is in the near project area of this one, I'm not sure if it's going to show up here. No, it's about, is this McCall? Yes, it is. So you can see the project is here. This is the intersection that was, okay, so the V5 project evaluated this intersection and all of Dinuba continuing all the way to 99. And in the case of the V5 project, they found that the increase in traffic and the impact on those intersections was very minimal. But at Dinuba and McCall, where the V5 project was proposed, did show significant impacts. So their condition of approval for that project is to build a signal there. The project, the intersection of Dinuba and McCall, you can correct me at any point, is part of what the city calls a fee program. And with how a fee program works is all development that is proposed pays their fair share of traffic impact fees, and those fees go towards making improvements in the city. So the engineering department has what's called a CIP, like a capital improvement project list, and they make those projects, those improvements when they are warranted, and Dan would have to go into what the actual warrant means, because it's not the same meaning as I would use warrant. So basically, when we reviewed the V5 traffic study, we would extrapolate that information to mean that this project could have impacts at Wright and Dinuba, could have impacts at South Thompson, but given the number of trips compared to the number of trips that V5 would generate, it was at a level of less than significant. So that's why the environmental document that was included for this project listed the traffic impacts as less than significant because of the low number of traffic, and also because all projects are expected to pay their fair share of their impact fees. And then lastly, the project is consistent with the general plan. So the general plan designates this site for high density residential uses. And when the general plan was adopted, there was also an environmental impact study report done, and all of it expects a build out. So when the circulation patterns are designed, when the environmental impacts are determined, all of that looks at what's planned for the city according to the general plan, and this project is consistent with what was evaluated there. So that's why we didn't require a specific traffic study for this specific project. So that's all I can say about that. And then the last thing I'll touch on is some changes that have been made since our last public hearing. So in response to some of the comments that were made by members of the public and the commission, the project applicant has increased the number of parking stalls on site. So there are 10 additional parking stalls proposed than was previously proposed. They have also increased setbacks on the side and rear. So the side setback requirement for the zone is 5 feet. The previous plan provided a 20-foot setback, and now the revised plan shows 25 feet, so they've increased it by 5 additional feet. The rear setback requirement is 10 feet. They had previously proposed 15, but they've revised their plan to provide 20 feet, and I can show you that here. So this is the revised site plan. It's generally consistent with what you saw last month, but those are some of the changes that I wanted to let you know about. And then lastly, they've included some, let's see, what is the word they use? Glazing? Basically, some privacy on the windows. So the second story windows on the north facing building, the north side, would include this glazing, and that would provide privacy both for residents and the single family.
How about the houses on the west side?
I didn't see that.
Is this glazing,
I'd have to see.
Is this glazing when the sun gets to a certain level going to
I'd have to ask the project applicant to speak on the glazing.
Into the backyard of the houses west of it?
I'm not sure of the product. They might have more information on the product that's being proposed.
As far as the setbacks go, I see some balconies here. So what good's a setback do if you got a balcony on the second floor? Where's the privacy? What good's the glazing? What? Quiet, please. What good is glazing doing if somebody's out there on the balcony?
I'm not sure. I have no opinion on that matter. I'm just presenting what the applicant has provided to me. Because the project is consistent with our general plan and is consistent with the code, city staff has recommended approval of the project. We have provided for you a resolution for recommending approval or recommending denial. It's at your discretion to choose which resolution you adopt.
Any questions of staff?
What time of the year was that survey taken for the traffic? Is it during the school year?
Norm would be to do it during the school year, but you'll have to give me a few minutes to verify that.
Hang on. Kira, you said this is lines up with the general plan. When was that general plan put out? Was that updated? How long has that been around?
It goes through 2035.
When was it born?
Probably about
2010, was it?
Okay, thank you.
So anybody living in that neighborhood prior to 2010 might have had a different expectation?
I'm not sure whether the general plan designation was either missing prior to that or whether it was changed.
Gotcha.
I couldn't tell you at this time, but I believe we would be able to find record of that, but I don't know.
Since we are having multiple, residential units, so there is any provision like for how many parking spots should be for each unit?
Yes, so the municipal code does provide an off-street parking requirement. I believe it's broken down. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. So they require 1.5 stalls for 1-bedroom units, 2.5 for 2-bedroom, and 3 or more. I got that wrong. I'm sorry. Correction: 2 parking stalls for 2-bedroom units and 2.5 for 3 or more bedrooms. So the 124. 19. So I'm okay. So how it works is the applicant proposes the number of parking stalls that they wish to provide for the project, and we evaluate whether it is sufficient or not. In this case, the project has applied for a density bonus because they are low income, affordable housing project. And a density bonus is something that the state mandates of us. It's not something that, it's not a discretionary action. We don't have any say in it. And if the density bonus is granted, it comes along with certain concessions. And one of those concessions, or they call them relief from planning requirements, can be setbacks, they can be parking standards. So in this case, because it's an affordable housing program that does is meeting the requirements for a density bonus, they do get concessions on reduced parking standards.
On the parking spots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think like for 2 bedroom, they can be considered 1.5 or something like that?
I'd have to, let me see if I can get this.
Get a small one.
Okay, there it is. So typically 168 would be required of the project. Previously 124 were provided, but they've added an additional 10 for a total of 134. So they have a reduction of approximately 24
34.
134, 168. 34 parking stalls. Yeah.
So you're still short quite a ways.
Yes.
And they propose to take this, solve this by parking on the street?
They have. Our standards do not speak to on-street parking. Our standards only speak to off-street parking.
Are there any other concessions that have been granted along with the density bonus?
Originally, it was the setbacks, but that is no longer the case. So a development incentive has been granted by staff as a non-discretionary act in accordance with state law for the requirement of open space. So the applicant has provided less
Right.
open space on site than what is typically required of a project.
Of a development.
Yes.
Are there any other expectations of the state that follow the property now because of the density bonus?
So that's how they can qualify for specific funding, and it's also there are deed restrictions. So this has to, in order to get the density bonus, they might be able to speak to this better because it's what they do. But there are requirements that have to be followed. So in my experience, it's a 30-year commitment to rent at below market rate. It's specifically based on the federal poverty level, I believe, and but it is a commitment that is recorded against the property that it should last for quite some time.
So this project could be built without a density bonus? It just, because they gave the setbacks back?
We're required to give the density bonus by state law.
Right.
So in this case, because they have reduced parking and because they are not providing the typical amount of open space, then no, it wouldn't meet the code requirements without a density bonus. Another way they might be able to move forward would be with a variance, but in this case, it wasn't required because the non-discretionary act was.
Because the density bonus is a shall issue.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Any other questions of staff?
We get our answer when it was.
The turn movement analysis was done on 2 separate dates. One was August 27th and one was November 7th,
Of this year?
2013.
2013? 6 years ago?
Correct.
Since then, there have been so many developments back there on Dinuba.
Any other questions of staff? Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative present?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Tom Kalish. I'm the President and CEO of Self-Help Enterprises. We have offices at 8445 West Elwyn Court in Visalia. And I will not do a whole presentation as I did last time, and I think the staff has gone through. We listened to concerns at the last meeting and made some significant changes. The second-story windows that we're talking about would be a variety that you cannot, they let light in, but you can't see out. They're obscured, sort of like old, if you remember, used to call them jealousy windows for bathrooms and that kind of thing. It's a way that you can do this. It's not a different product that shines differently in the sunlight or anything like that. I would also say on the west side, those are actually of the project that back up to, they actually front onto that area, and that's where we're doing a 25-foot setback, and that's a pretty significant setback, and I think that was referred to. I want to just summarize what you have before you with this project, and I understand that the neighbors, some of the neighbors are quite interested. This is an orderly development that is adjacent to current city limits, so it's not leapfrog development. You have a reputable developer with a long-term commitment to affordable housing and housing working families in the San Joaquin Valley. It is consistent with your general plan and your zoning policies. We've been willing to make reasonable revisions to try to address specific concerns. We would also make the offer to do a new traffic study. We'd be happy to commission that and then work with the city to implement anything that comes of it. We're actually willing to do that. The resources that we are bringing to bear in this project are significant. It was discussed at the last meeting that until the sewer line is dramatically upgraded in that part of town, no development's really going to be able to occur. We've talked to city staff about the fact that we are well-versed in the infill infrastructure program, and when it's in support of affordable housing, we could help you apply for up to $7.5 million to possibly do that improvement. So we're here to offer, we're one of the few folks who can, developers can offer you that kind of assistance. We're also offering transportation enhancements by virtue of the fact that we're applying for the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities program. And significantly, this project will help with about half of your regional housing needs, or RHNA, that has been established by the Fresno COG. It is significant and has not been mentioned yet, but you are currently out of compliance with state housing element law. Your housing element is not in compliance. I'm not an attorney, but I know that that creates some significant liabilities and potential exposure for the city. This project, I dare say, would help you get in compliance with that state law. And we're not sure, again, we're not attorneys, but we think that this project may be also eligible to be considered under Government Code 65589.5, otherwise known as the anti-NIMBY law, which suggests that you would need to make findings in order to, specific findings that it would be virtually impossible to make to deny the project. So, you know, we understand that neighbors get a say and get to make their comments. But one thing that people don't get to do is to say who can live in their neighborhood. And so I would just urge you to consider this fairly. We do respectfully request that you take some action tonight, because we would like to move forward whether that's approval or denial. And I would be happy to answer any questions or anything else that comes up during this conversation. Thank you.
Any questions? How do you propose to make up these missing parking spots?
Well, the reason that there is state law that allows for lower parking standards is because these are the kinds of things that cities deny projects based on. There are 19 on-street parking spaces that would also be available. I understand that they can't be considered as part of this, but that would bring us up to 153 parking spots. And we own 1,500 apartment units right now, and I will tell you that the parking that we have here, from our experience with these projects, it's ample.
Whereabouts in this complex is the trash dumpster pickup place going to be?
Yeah, we haven't designed that yet on there. I think we would do that when we go through the specific site review. But we'll work with solid waste and put it in the appropriate location.
One of you speak at a time. If you're going to
Yeah,
talk, you sit down, you introduce yourself, give us your address.
Okay. I would introduce Betsy McGovern Garcia, who's our Real Estate Development Director, to answer that question.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the Commission. My name is Betsy McGovern Garcia. I'm the Director of Real Estate Development for Self-Help Enterprises. At this point in time, we have not specifically located the trash enclosures. However, we do work closely with engineering and public works staff to locate those receptacles. We do put those in locations where the solid waste wants them. They are ADA accessible and they are screened with walls around the entire trash enclosure with lids to visibly protect those enclosures. So we would work with staff and put them in the appropriate location where they want to see those.
Any other questions? Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this project? Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Darcy Brown. I work for Central California Legal Services as an attorney, and our offices are at 2115 Kern Street in Fresno. I've submitted a letter that you have in front of you with my complete remarks, and I'd like to summarize my remarks this evening. I represent a client, Ms. Maria Ramirez.
This is being broadcast. You want to pull the mic down so you can talk into it? Thank you.
Is that better? Okay. I represent Ms. Maria Ramirez, a longtime resident of Selma who's struggling to find affordable housing in this community. The state of California requires local governments to adopt plans and regulatory systems that provide opportunities for and do not unduly constrain housing development. This required plan is called the Housing Element and is incorporated into the general plan. Selma will have been out of compliance with this state law for 1 year as of this Friday. The non-compliance stems from the failure to pre-zone at least 8.5 acres for high-density residential use to meet the Regional Housing Needs Assessment shortfall of 169 units. California's Department of Housing and Community Development is charged with oversight of the Housing Element Program and has informed Selma that the current trajectory for completion concurrent with the 2020 General Plan update is unacceptable. And the failure to timely provide for affordable housing development in this city is hurting its most vulnerable residents, like my client. We are asking the Commission to seek innovative solutions to these problems. Self-Help Enterprises provides housing to low-income residents at several projects throughout the Valley and has a good reputation built on years of hard work and success. Ms. Ramirez, my client, is interested in living at the complex being considered this evening. This development would be exactly the type of place she hopes to call home. If this project gets delayed for another year because the applicant is unable to get approval within the funding window, Ms. Ramirez will be less likely to find an affordable home of her own in this city. In the interest of Ms. Ramirez's housing prospects, we are requesting that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the proposed development this evening. Thank
Thank you.
you. Any questions?
Does anybody else wish to speak in favor of this project? Now, I know there's a bunch of you want to speak in opposition. I respect your right to voice your opinion. I would ask that you please keep it to 3 minutes and try not to be too redundant. In other words, don't keep saying the same thing over and over and over. If you've got something new to share with us, by all means, we want to hear it. But let's, how many of you wish to speak? Okay. I'm going to start on this side of the room, the gentleman in the red shirt. Now, whoever is on this side of the aisle and wants to speak, please line up behind him so we won't waste a lot of time waiting for the next speaker. And we got the timer right there in case you get confused.
Thank you, sir. My name is Michael Ray. I live at 3810 Howard Street. I just want to say that this is the third time that me and my family have gone through this. I was born and raised in this valley. I was born and raised in Orosi, California. I doubt there's many people sitting in this room who would walk through Orosi, California right now at night alone. We moved to Dinuba into a nice neighborhood. 3 Section 8 homes went into the neighborhood. Crime went up 30%. People moved out. The homes that did sell were sold to people who opened up labor camps. My daughter could not walk home from school because they would catcall her every day at 10 years old. So we had a choice, move again. Our choice was between Selma and Kingsburg. My wife wanted to move to Kingsburg. I chose Selma. We moved into a very nice neighborhood. Our neighborhood is nice. However, we've had drug houses go in, and we've had no help from the police. We've had no help from the city. We fight, we argue, and we don't get anything resolved. And I can tell you now, if you put this in, people are going to move again. You're going to force me and my family to move for the 4th time. And what I hope is Selma doesn't become the next Orosi. Because let me tell you something, I loved growing up in Orosi. I loved that town. I wouldn't walk in it at night. And I know you people wouldn't either. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Next. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Patricia Aguilera Barrios, and I live in 2467 North View Street here in Selma. And it's very simple. I have 12 years live right there, and I'm so happy. I like everything with my neighbors. We have respect. So I don't want to lose my privacy, and I don't want to fight with a lot of traffic with the project. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Frances Carasosa. I live at 3801 Wright Street. Probably I'm asking this at the wrong time. Maybe I should have asked them. But has this property been sold already, or is it going to be sold in contingency to that this project goes through? Have they purchased this property for this? Has this property been purchased already?
Could you answer that
for
question?
This?
I cannot.
Apparently that's still in question.
It's still, so it's in limbo. They haven't sold. Nobody knows. Okay.
We weren't privileged to that information.
But it is public privilege, right?
The owner's name is public information.
Yes.
Okay.
Next. And the folks on this side of the room that want to speak, could you start lining up?
My name's Agustino Salazar. I live in 2102 Tammy Lane, about a block away from there. I just want to make a quick comment about Mr. Kalishak, about how neighbors can't choose their people who live there. Obviously, I'm a minority, right? And I live by a lot of people like me, so I don't think that's an issue here. Because it's not like there's not, it's not just one certain race of people there. It's very diverse where I'm from, which is around the block. So I think that's an invalid point. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Nicole McNeil, and I live at 9839 East Danuba Avenue in Selma. There's been 3 accidents in front of my house. My husband got hit leaving the there's 2 houses on the property. When we were leaving, we got hit real bad and totaled our car. And because there's people been leaving, my daughter got hit by a car in front of our house going to school. She's been harassed so many times because of her learning disability and us taking care of her. And between the hours of 3 to 5, there's so much traffic in front of our house. And that's all I need to say.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Jesse Reyes, and I live on 2384 Stephanie Lane, which is right across from the project. And I've been there over 10 years, and since I moved in there, I loved it. Beautiful. The neighborhood was nice. But then, like they said, the drug houses started coming around, started noticing more traffic. That's gonna bring even more traffic. I had my vehicle broken into earlier this year. I'm a law-abiding citizen that pays my taxes. Why should I have to pay a deductible for something that I did not do? They thrashed my vehicle, almost totaled it. Now I had to pay money out of pocket just to get that fixed for somebody else's doing. I don't think that's right. And we see a lot of that going on, and it's been going on for years, and it's gonna continue if that goes up. So I just like to say, consider that and listen to all the concerned citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Rachel Robledo. I live at 3824 Van Horn Street, right across from Jesse here. One of the reasons why I did move into that neighborhood a year ago is because I really love the privacy of it. I love the home feeling of a residential area. I lived in apartments my whole life. So I know how busy it can be with traffic and apartments. I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and there was 4 cars in one apartment. So I know the parking you have is not gonna be feasible. I also wanna know, it's 84 units. The families that come in, if their kids aren't within this district, what school are they gonna go to? Where is the district, is it gonna be Jackson Elementary? Because I know that there have already been problems with not having room for certain kids in that age group to go to Jackson. I've heard of people that will falsify their addresses in order for their kids to go to Jackson. So if that apartment complex comes with more than 200 kids, 3 in each apartment, where are those kids gonna go to school? Because I can see that some of these people that are gonna move to that apartment are not gonna be people that already live in Selma. There's gonna be people coming from Fresno, Kingsburg, people coming from the other side of town who want to come to this side of town are going to be coming that are low income, because I know we keep talking about the traffic, which is one thing, but we got to think about the future. My kids are young and they're not going to school yet, but down the line when all these kids start coming in, are my kids still going to be able to go to Jackson, or they're going to have to go to a different school now that's going to be far away? So that's my concern.
Thank you.
Jacqueline Harper, 9989 East Dinuba Avenue. We've been talking about traffic surveys, and we did take an informal traffic survey September the 11th of this year. This was on a Wednesday afternoon. From 3:30 to 4 o'clock, 354 vehicles drove by. That would be in both directions. From 5:15 to 5:45, I skipped one. 4:30 to 5 o'clock, 343 vehicles drove by. 5:15 to 5:45, 378 vehicles. From 5:45 to 6 o'clock, another 203 vehicles. So in total, There were 1,278 vehicles drove by on that afternoon, Wednesday, in the middle of the week, not even a Monday or a Friday. These included 3 semi-trucks, 2 school buses, 1 oversized vehicle with its pilot cars. How can you consider approving 456 additional trips by approving this 84-unit apartment complex? On another matter, the recitals of the resolution prepared for you to sign on the August 26th public hearing, the second whereas has a mistaken acreage number. In the third whereas, in my opinion, one very important word has been omitted. It failed to say that the property has safe vehicular and safe pedestrian access. In the 7th and again in the 11th whereas, it states there is no possibility that this project will have significant effects on the environment. Are you willing to sign your name to that agreement, that promise? In the now, therefore, section 1, it states all of the facts set forth in the recitals of this resolution are true and correct. I just pointed out one incorrect fact. Several others were cited in the August 26th public hearing. Are you really willing to sign your name to this statement? Another major concern is the school children's safety. If they walk to school, they would have to cross busy Dinuba Avenue. If it's widened, that means crossing 4 lanes of traffic. If they ride the bus, either they're picked up and dropped off on Dinuba Avenue, or the bus enters the complex and then must make a left-hand turn across busy Dinuba Avenue. The same problem would exist for waste management trucks and emergency vehicles.
I'm sorry, we're out of time. Thank you very much. Next.
Hi, my name is Gurjit Baines, 3817 Wright Street. We live right at the corner of Wright and Dinuba, exactly where all the traffic comes to, crossing sections in both directions. And at any one point, we have definitely sat outside, and those vehicles are parked early in the morning when I leave, at least 10 deep. So I've got to wait at least 5 to 10 minutes just to get out of my driveway to get onto Wright Street. Secondly, we talked about privacy windows. Unless those windows, once opened, still can't see outside, there's no privacy. Anyone can open a window, they can see outside, the privacy of those windows is no longer there. So we would really, really urge that for the privacy of the residents, for the traffic in our area, that this project is not approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is John Duran. I live at 2377 Stephanie Lane. When me and my wife first got married, we were looking for a good family-oriented town to live in. We either going to choose Kingsburg, Selma, or Clovis. We chose Selma. I hope, like the sign says, we're here to serve the people, the community of Selma that are here already. Don't make Selma worse than it is. Yes, there's a lot of good people that come with this self-help homes, but a lot of bad come with it. And when a lot of bad come with it, what's happening to Nebraska Avenue with those apartments? Crime, gangs, prostitution, drugs, you name it. Don't bring that to North Selma, where there's good, God-fearing, law-abiding, patriotic American citizens that live there. Just think for a moment. If these apartments were coming to your neighborhood, how would you react? I brought an Olympian, the first one in Selma, to this community. Kingsburg could have had their second Olympian if I would have chose Kingsburg. Please make me feel like I did the right decision in coming to Selma. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I start, do me a favor, pull up the picture of the facility.
This one?
Give me the one that actually gives the idea of what it looks like. Slide 6. Or even slide 7. Slide 7 looks nicer. 6. 6 looks better. Okay, that gives an idea of an overview, gives an idea of what we're looking at. Okay. So, here we have a project, and this is, Mark Medina, 3761 Wright Street. I actually had a drive-by occur right next to my house. So, I kind of can give you firsthand knowledge of how it feels to live in a place where it's not too safe, when you don't have police that will show up in time. When they do, the people are already gone. So, we have a few things that are going on here. For one, we have another project, and this is what it is. It's a project. They can call it, low-income housing, call it whatever they want. It's a project. It's another Nebraska apartment. I lived around those areas. Raised partly on Park Street, raised on Dinuba Avenue, lived in Fresno. Never really had a whole lot growing up. I can tell you one thing, though. A poor mindset, which has nothing to do with income, thrives when you have people who have no want to do anything. And when you have low-income housing, you may have maybe 1 or 2 families that will get out of there and move on, but you'll have a lot of them that just keep sucking people down like crabs in a barrel. The reason why is simple, because these are traps. They're not meant to help anybody. Now, I know Self-Help Enterprises says they want to help people go from here to owning a house, but when you look at it as a business model, you don't make money getting people to houses. You make money keeping people there. And if they don't even care enough to give them windows that they can look out of from the second story, then they really don't care at all. They can't even care enough to give them parking spaces. And these are the people they're supposed to help. I'm sorry. We here buy our houses because we didn't want to be near this, to be honest. It is not about the people there. It's about the mindset. We moved on. We have houses that have value. We have businesses. We have families. We have streets that are now being ran by a bunch of people who we try really hard to get rid of, to force out. People riding their bikes in the middle of the night. It took a long time for our neighbors to help us push them out. And now we have a group that wants to come in and just bring a whole buttload of it. That's insane. We don't have the police officers. We don't have the infrastructure. And they don't even have the parking to make it safe for the people who are good that would be there. We're going to have a lot more traffic jams, traffic accidents, a lot more coming on the pipe by going with this. And when they talk about, following the law because the state has this law, the state doesn't even follow federal law. So why the hell are we going to follow state law?
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marco Rizzo. I live at 2386 Northview, right behind the new project here. My main concern is mostly about, I've been there about 20 years. Thank God I finished paying my house, and I worked really hard to be there. My kids grew up there. They went to high school. Now I got my grandkids that I'm trying to raise there. It's a quiet neighborhood. Everybody, got good neighbors, left to right. And I just, I can still go outside and play soccer with them out on the street, And I think something that's gonna come up, just around the corner, it's just gonna make it so hard, so difficult. I only had 1, 2, 3, 4 break-ins in my car. On all the cars that I had, somebody's been broken into. Recently, they broke into my daughter's car, took all her books from college. Now, we're struggling to buy all those books back, but we did. She's back to school. And knowing that something like this is gonna come up, it's, if it passes, it's just gonna get worse. You're gonna have more kids, more vandalism. It's not bad right now, but I guarantee something's not gonna be, it's not gonna be right. And I want to stay there. I want to be there. I want to be able to play with my grandkids, as I did with my kids. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Kevin Apple. My address 3465 Shaft, and I just heard about this afternoon about 5 o'clock. I live in there in a house since 2003. I bought it brand new. So, you know, for my family, I was Fresno or Clovis. And I said, let's go to Selma. But I just looking at it, what's happening right now, a lot of crime and driving, dangerous driving. Almost hit by a car on Saturday. Just they're dangerous. I'm just worried about this is going to be worse for other people. You know, also people buy their homes, they expect their house to go up, not down. So if you lose 50 grand out of your pocket, you're going to be happy? No, I just think it's not right. I think they cancel it. It's not a good idea. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Ramona Bastillos. I live at 2228 Tammy Lane. I've dealt with the neighbors behind us, drug dealers, staying up late at night partying. I know it still goes on because there's a gal that parks in our street, so we kind of have to watch her and see what she's up to. My household's been affected by them taking our license plates from the car. They've stolen from my son's car, speakers. So we're always on the watch. I can't leave my grandchildren out in front alone. I've got to be there with them all the time. What's happened to Selma? I've grown up in Selma. So why are you guys going to allow this project to grow up, come into Selma? It's going to end up like Nebraska apartments. Selma's going down. Do you guys all live in Selma? Would you guys live near to that project that they're wanting to put up? I don't think so. Thank you.
I'm Victoria Schaefer. I live at 9803 East Dinuba Avenue. I'm here to say the traffic is terrible in front of my house. And fortunately, the wrecks that have happened in front of our house has hit the telephone poles and the vineyard across the street, not our place. And as far as this project, it is not complimentary to our neighborhood and to our area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Denise Bonilla, 3716 Gaynor. Everybody's said a lot of good opposes to this project that you're wanting to or planning on doing. The only thing I heard, as this gentleman and the lawyer said, I felt like they were threatening. If you don't put this project in, you are not already to the capacity of the housing per capita, or however he mentioned it. I'm just saying, I hope that you, the Planning Commission, do not just approve this so that we don't get threatened with a lawsuit of some sort. I hope that you could bring the housing that we're supposed to have in a better way. Middle income, better apartments, possibly, but not more low-income homes. And I feel sorry for Mrs. Ramirez, but there are a lot of lower income apartments available as well, whoever or wherever she may be looking. But that's what I would just hope you guys would do, is to make our housing that he mentioned, that we weren't at the proper level, that it not be this way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Onkar Baines, 3817 Wright Street, right on the corner, right across the street. It was this. This is where this project's going to go. A lot of these good neighbors actually came through today. I really appreciate that. Just want to let you guys know, you guys heard me last time how passionate I was. But just to go over some basics of what's happening out there is that trash cans, we'll start with that. The trash can area there, wherever they put it, the homeless that come out in that area, they're going to be in those every single day. I mean, it's going to be, they're inviting every type of homeless to go in there, pick out cans, trash, food, whatever they got to do. And then going to the windows, most of these people have cul-de-sacs in that area along the fence here. I don't know if they're going to put a brick fence around it, but it's all bricked out. Irregardless, people are going to be jumping those fences. They jump the cul-de-sacs. I live on the corner. I see everything, especially with my cameras, just being out there cleaning up. And everybody through those windows, if we get any bad eggs out of there, yeah, we're gonna get bad eggs. They're gonna watch when these neighbors leave, when they come home. They're gonna plan it maybe a month down the road, 2 months down the road, maybe a half year down the road. But they are gonna do something because somebody out there's always waiting, you know, for the right time. They're always watching me, you know, if I'm looking or not. They always turn the other way and go the other way when they see me because I catch them on camera every time. And another thing is, I doubt if they're going to want to put this across the street of their houses. I mean, let's do that. Let's just do that. You know what? Let them buy my house and maybe the other neighbor's house and let them do this project across the street from their house. I doubt they're going to do that. If they're willing to do it, I'm down there right now. I'll sell them my house right now. I'll give them a good deal too. Hey, there's another one. So, and the traffic. You know what? Everybody's being minimal about the traffic there. Let me tell you, on that stop sign, I've tried to get the city to cul-de-sac my street. I can't even get somebody to come over there and talk to me in person to cul-de-sac my street. Because everybody that comes down that street, they've got mufflers. I mean, the cops don't do nothing. Let me tell you, they themselves talk to me, and they tell me they're lost. What do you want us to do? You know what I mean? And this is with what's going on right now. 15 years of fighting John Zapata's property with all the drug dealers, prostitution. I mean, it's been hell. 15 years every single day, day and night. Day and night. I mean, I have thousands of photos in my computer. I keep them for this time, you know what I mean? So I know you're looking at that time. Give me a couple extra seconds if I need it. But, so we had to fight all that. And I mean, just so we can take a breather. And let me tell you, it's not over. Homeless all still in there every single night, going in and out, waiting for this type of project. They're like, yes, probably. You know what I mean? Once they find out, they're going to tell everybody. And the traffic, like I was about to tell you, horrible. Everybody has a muffler. Vroom, 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 all day, all night. Just give me a few more seconds. I'm almost done.
Thank you. We're out of
So,
time.
yeah,
We're out
the
of time.
traffic.
Thank you.
It's impossible. It's gonna be a complete disaster out there.
Next.
It already is. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name's Larry Raven. I live at 3504 East Huntington Boulevard in Fresno, California. I'm a developer in Selma, or I used to be. The biggest thing that I see here is staff is recommending approval and annexation. I have annexation applied for 12 years. I put up $12,000, which LAFCO still has. And legally, there's no way you can annex this property until we have sewer. We've done a sewer estimate of $5.3 million. Until the City of Selma or other arrangements are made, in my opinion, legally, I do not think you can approve anything. And if you do, go for it. And I think we're looking at litigation. Because go by the law, you have a new staff person. So we'll excuse that part, but I don't think the research has been done on what in reality we can do here. You can do a potential annexation. I've been writing that for 12 years. And they still have my money. And your new attorney, welcome. I appreciate you coming back. Is very well informed of our problems. And it's, I do think you need to do a little research before you approve anything. And if you can approve it and can get the sewer in, I have units for 600 and some upgrade houses for the north end on Dinuba Avenue. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
My name is Ron Valencia. Live at I just bought a house here on North Hill, not too far from this project. As far as Dinuba Avenue goes, that road has been a highway since I was a little kid. I was born and raised here. And the City of Selma has done nothing about that road. It may have been county property at one time, but nobody maintains that road. It still looks the same from the day that since I was a little kid. I'm 42 years old now. I used to ride my bike up and down that road at 13 years old. I heard one gentleman say the kid got hit, or the woman right here that can't get out of her driveway. You guys haven't even figured out how to fix McCall and Dinuba. You want to put in a big ass project like this? I mean, you know, and as far as the safety goes, you know, I got 2 little kids. I walked down the street to get my mail and was approached by somebody walking down the street after dark. He said, "What's up, Bulldog?" Come on, man. That's all that's going to bring is the same thing. And what do you guys consider? What does the state of California consider low income? At what threshold, dollar amount, do they meet that requirement? Like the other person had just said, it's just it's a money-making tool. That's all it is. You're keeping them people there because the government's paying their rent. They're not paying their rent. And when you get somebody in that position where, hey, the government's paying my rent, why should I go get a job? Sometimes it's easier for me to just live off the government and let them pay for me to live, while everybody else out here who owns homes are having to pay for them too.
Don't you know California's a welfare state now?
I mean, we can't continually keep paying. We're paying your guys' wages too, one way or another. You know what I mean? And we need you guys to work for us as well too.
Please don't make Selma into a welfare town.
This may be a big surprise. This may come as a surprise, but we're all up here volunteers.
Thank you for your service.
Now, are you all from Selma?
You have to be from Selma to be on the Selma Planning Commission.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for being on the council there. My name is Will Allison. I live at 1701 Dinuba Avenue. I'm sitting here, I'm listening to this tonight. It's my first time here. I'm listening to a traffic study that's 6 years old. I'm listening to no answers for parking, except we don't have to have it. Privacy windows with balconies you can walk out and look at. I listen to, we can help you get $7.5 million in sewer. But if you don't go with us, then you're violating state or federal law or something. I hear an offer, then I hear a threat. Okay? I moved down to Selma in 2016. I'm from San Jose, California. I lived up there for 35 years. We have one zip code here, 93662. This is a beautiful town. I've lived all over the country. I come down here, I love it. I love my neighbors. Everybody gets along. Everything's a side street. But I've been down in Nebraska. I've been down in the South. Why would we want to take a chance in doing that to northern Selma? Low-income people, they can need help, okay? But this is a bad idea. It's poorly planned. And this whole crew right here, they're here to make money. That's their whole motivation. They can say this, they can say that. They're here to make money. They have a job to do, and I get that. But look at this town. Look how it is. Look at all these people. They're lined up. You get this every month? They care about the town. Please listen to them. We are here to serve you. We believe that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in opposition of this application? Would the applicant like to rebut?
Thank you, Chairman. I respectfully listen to you, sir. So just a couple things, just to correct. A few people referred to this as free housing, and I heard Section 8 come up. This is not Section 8 housing. It's not public housing. People have rent. They have to pay the rents or they get evicted. If they don't follow the house rules, they get evicted. So I would just say that there's a lot of energy in the room today, and I recognize that. I do wish that some of that energy could be put into, we're at selfhelpenterprises.org on the web. You can look at any one of all of our project sites are listed there. You can go to them, and I don't know that anybody's done that here today because I don't think they'd have these kinds of comments about what they perceive will be there. I understand it's unknown right now to some degree, and that creates some fear, but some of that energy could go into doing some real homework and actually go to our projects where we welcome people all the time. The last thing I would just reiterate is that we are respectfully asking for a decision tonight. Thank you, so we can move forward. Thanks.
Can I speak one more time, sir?
What I would like for you folks to do is choose a spokesman to surrebut. That means he just did a rebuttal. You folks are due a surrebuttal. Pardon? No, no. One at a time. And
All you
who's-
commissioners?
All right, first, who wants to be the spokesperson? Because there's only going to be one person.
All you commissioners.
Gave us like more than
It-
24 hours notice before this, so that way we could all get together and figure and put a spokesperson
Well, how's
together.
this, let us just
Because-
please rebut one more time. Three people.
Because what he just said,
If-
he's just trying to keep, he's just trying to keep this project going. He's gonna say whatever he wants to say. to make
If
it
you're going to
done
speak, you need to be the speaker and introduce yourself and your address. If you're going to speak, get on with it.
Okay, commissioners, all I've got to say is this. If this project goes through, you'll be inheriting Nebraska-type people and all these people, law-abiding, God-fearing, patriotic Americans will be leaving Selma and moving to better towns. Okay? All you're doing is bringing worse situation to this good town of Selma. And a lot of good people are leaving, are going to leave. I will leave. I cannot live. I cannot go on vacation to San Diego worrying about my property getting broken into. No. Good, God-fearing people don't need to live that way in fearing for their property. You're going to lose a lot of good people, and all you're going to gain: crime, burglary, robbery, drugs, and gangbangers. That's what Selma wants. Go for it. But you're going to lose good citizens and leaving. We're going to go to Clovis, Keensburg, maybe Georgia, maybe a good conservative state. A good conservative state that's not a welfare state like the state of California is. Liberalism is ruining this state. Remember that. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing, I just right here.
You
10
had
seconds.
your chance.
10 seconds.
You had your chance.
We have over $300,000 homes.
You had your
Everybody
chance.
has value in their homes. They do not want to lose that. Everybody will lose that value. And nothing but crime and bad people will come in. We won't be able to even sell. We'd have to let it go for nothing, and that's what it would be happening. We'd lose everything what we would have.
I want to clarify one thing before I close the public portion. We're all volunteers. We don't get a salary. And we can only be as effective as a commission. Our mission is to try to figure the best and highest use for any piece of real estate. What we do as a commission is make a recommendation to the city council. The city council is who ultimately makes the approval or denial for any given project. All we do is recommend a course for them to consider, okay? Now, I'm going to close the public portion of this hearing, and I'm going to bring it back to the commission for discussion and a motion.
I just have a question. How much is rent? They're all 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. How much is going to be the rent on, first of all, are they all 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and how much are you planning on renting it for?
I take it you want to reopen the hearing?
I just had that one question, so.
That means yes.
Okay.
May I answer, Sheriff?
Name and address. This is being televised.
Oh, okay.
so-
Tom Collish, Self-Help Enterprises. There are some 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom units. The range in rents is approximately $375 up to a high of $800. $850 a month. And that depends on which units you apply for and what your income makes you eligible for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm reclosing the public portion and bringing it back to the commission for discussion and a motion. You guys have something you want to say? I'm really torn. The city needs,
We're supposed to be talking.
the city needs low-income housing. But this area is all single-family, single-story housing. And for somebody to sit there and tell me they did a traffic study 6 years ago and there was no problem isn't up to speed.
Mr. Chairman, could we have the speakers speak into the microphone so people can hear you?
Anyway, my gut reaction is we need something like this in Selma, but I feel that it's exactly in the wrong location. And I haven't heard anyone say anything about alternative locations. Now there's a 3-acre parcel available. I know the lady that has it. It's just west of Economy Market on the south side of Nebraska. But that's 3 acres even. So they wouldn't get 84 units in there unless they went 3-story.
Mr. Chair, if I may interrupt, the community cannot hear any of this discussion.
Pardon?
The community cannot hear any of this discussion, and this is a public meeting.
I thought we was all friends.
I didn't know if you realized we couldn't hear
Okay.
any of that.
There's also a parcel, and I'm not sure the one that you have listed for J.G. Gardner, or G.J., what, I get mixed up. Out there, it's at the southwest corner of Mitchell and Nebraska.
Yeah, that's not for G.J. Gardner.
Oh, well, there is
But there is,
a
yes.
sizable lot there
Right.
that quite possibly could be purchased.
Right.
And there's also a 19-acre lot just west of the, Ringo Park and Eric White School, and it runs clear over to Highland.
Right.
There's a for sale sign out there in that lot. So I think I know there are probably alternate sites that would be better suited than building a 2-story complex with single-family, single-story housing on 3 sites.
Right.
And
I mean, Selma does need low-income housing, but I believe it's in the wrong location. We do have other available lots,
Yes.
so.
The pictures I saw of some of those units have a balcony, so glazing the windows isn't gonna preserve any kind of privacy for the people on the north side or the west side. And I'm still not satisfied that any kind of an accurate traffic study has been done. 6 years old, that's, don't even bring it up.
Right, household grow and,
But,
more cars get purchased and.
and this particular piece of property hasn't even been annexed into the city yet.
Correct.
So that could take who knows how long. So my own feelings are I can't support this project. would entertain a motion unless somebody else has something they wanna say.
I think we all share same stand, you know, like the idea is good, but location is bad. So, not on the.
So a clarification on how do we make a motion, as
You would make a motion to adopt the resolution denying or recommending denial of the project.
okay. Just so we're not voting the.
That's what you need to say.
All right. I make a motion to adopt the resolution of this, of the Planning Commission of the City of Selma recommending denial of site plan review pre-zone and annexation number 2019-0013 for the development of an 84-unit, two-story multifamily affordable housing complex to the Selma City Council and draft initial, do I need to read it all?
Yeah, go ahead and read the whole thing.
And draft initial study, draft mitigated negative declaration, and draft mitigation monitoring and report program regarding same and making findings against.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I do second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Chairman, Commissioner Curry,
Yes.
for a vote no?
Yeah. It's basically a yes on the denial.
Okay.
On recommending denial, right?
Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Singh,
Yes.
Commissioner Fedor,
Aye.
Chairman Niswander.
Aye.
Thank you.
Staff, would you inform the applicant, please?
I'm sorry?
Would you inform the applicant, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Moving forward here, agenda item number 3, general plan consistency number 2019-0017. Staff recommends that Planning Commission find the Huntsman Avenue widening project, including property acquisition of the southerly 30 feet needed for road right-of-way currently owned by First Christian Church, consistent with the general plan pursuant to Government Code Section 65402. Does staff have a report?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Chairman Niswander. Commissioners,
Let's take a couple minutes and let it calm down.
Thank you so much for caring about this town. Thank you guys. Thank you.
They haven't got a clue that they need to come to the council.
When is the deadline that we meet? Was it 2020 that we need to meet that deadline for the housing?
Well, what these guys need to do is look for an alternative site,
I know, but is it at the end of the year? Otherwise, we get penalized so much a day by the state.
We don't get penalized.
We get
We're not
fined?
allowed to apply for certain types of funding.
Okay.
Those are the penalties that basically attach to being out.
The last meeting we had, there was something about a penalty having to be paid by the day if we didn't meet.
I think that was a not so subtle
Yeah,
attempt.
there's no monetary penalty applicable.
Okay.
It's more of a withholding
To the
of
city.
funding for certain
Funds.
grants and that sort of
Okay.
Yes.
I was just trying to hear, that's all.
You want to borrow my hearing aid?
No. Okay. So the next item on the agenda is a finding of general plan consistency for the dedication of right-of-way on Huntsman Avenue west of Thompson Avenue. The project site is currently owned by a church. They own the vacant lot that you can see here. The church has offered to dedicate the land to the city so that a street of the full width can be constructed, because currently there's what we would call a half street there. It's only one way. It's only wide enough for direction of travel and, travel in one direction. So in order for the city to accept that dedication from the property owner, the Planning Commission and the City Council both need to make a finding of general plan consistency. So if you would basically just be saying that this project is in compliance with our expectations, which in this case would be the full width of Huntsman Avenue.
How much of this 30 feet will be actually be paved? Do you know?
All of it.
All of it, the whole 30 feet?
So the area that's delineated here, I'm sorry, it's in black.
Okay.
But you can see it be the entire frontage of this property. So the, I'm sorry. Dan, do you have the full width of what the eventual width of that street would be?
The actual right-of-way width is 60 feet. The paved limits would be approximately 40 feet. And the intent of the project is not just to widen and pave the area that's currently unpaved, but to also reconstruct the dilapidated south side of that road as well, to basically provide a brand new paved street for that full
Well, the
frontage.
reason I asked, I assumed that that black line across the vacant property there is the boundary for the north side of the street. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
In the
Approximately.
county, they also take a little bit of right-of-way on the shoulder. So I didn't know if that was going to be in effect here also or not.
This would be a full 30-foot dedication to give the ultimate street width of 60 feet, which is consistent with the street width to the west.
So eventually, will there be a sidewalk and a gutter?
That would be part of the project that we're proposing to do once the dedication occurs.
Okay.
Yeah, the sidewalk, curb and gutter happen within the city right away.
Okay.
It's considered city right away. The project location is zoned multifamily residential. It's, I'm sorry, general plan designated multifamily residential. The zoning of R2 is consistent with that designation. And with that, staff recommends approval of resolution number 2019-0017, finding this acceptance of right-of-way, acceptance of right-of-way consistent with the general plan.
Any questions of staff? I figure the church is okay with this.
They initiated it.
Oh.
They brought forth the offer.
Okay.
Jennifer Earl, 1327 Peach, member of the First Christian Church in Selma. We think this would be beneficial to both of us, that the curbs and gutters would be in, and you would get a full-size street. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is also a public hearing, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman.
Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this project? Anybody in opposition?
Hello, my name is Harry Medina. I live at 2632 Jackson Street. I live on Jackson, which is parallel to Huntsman. Ever since I remember, I've been there about 30-some years, and that street's always been half a street. And it is a problem, especially in the winter time when I take my grandkids, pick them up to and from school in Jackson School. It's a hassle to be parked behind cars and wait your turn. The other traffic is coming, so we just take turns going on that street. But it's also a hazard during the winter months when there's fog. It's hard because you can't see the cars coming, and you have to pull off to the street while they pass by. You get back on again, so you're kind of shuffling there. So it is a hazard, and I'm glad the church is, doing their share of it and saying, oh, it's okay to go ahead and expand that road. So I think it's a long time coming. I'm glad that is it a done deal now? Is this going to happen? I'm asking you, I don't know.
No,
is
that's
this a done deal yet?
No, that's the purpose of this hearing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so.
Step one.
Yeah, so I'm glad they're moving along with this. It's been a long time coming, and we do need that road expanded, not only because it's a safety issue, but It's going to make things and cars go a lot smoother there. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this?
My name is Carolina Moreno. I live at 2578 Huntsman, right down the street from where you're having that project being enforced, and I do appreciate that. But there is one more concern that I like to bring up, is that because there's a lot of traffic that goes through and from that small street, and sometimes some of these people drive like it's a freeway, and I would like to see maybe maybe adding some speed bumps there for the safety of the children. I'm not sure if that's something that could be done today, or do I have to go through another process of
The city
another
of Selma
city?
has traditionally shied away from speed bumps
Oh, they have?
due to it impedes the emergency vehicle response time.
Well, what other option can we do to protect the children that go to and from that main hub of a road right there?
Sit out
'Cause
there with your hair
Jackson's
dryer like a radar gun.
Hey, if I was retired, I would do it. But then again, I like to thank the First Christian Church. Thank you so much for them being considerate. Finally, like Mr. Medina said, we waited so long to get this done. So I do appreciate the church for consideration. But if you can offer any other options, how we can protect the children going to and from that area, because we have high school children back there and we have Jackson School. So, and these people, they do drive like it's like a main freeway there. So I just like to have that considered, as well as what other precautions we can do or other safety standards that we can take for our children. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public portion and bring it back to the commission for discussion and a motion. Sounds like it's been,
We need to make it better.
excuse me, sounds like it's been overdue for a while, the
Right.
widening.
Yes.
I don't have an issue with it. I don't know how you folks feel.
No.
The church is just giving that land to the city?
Yes.
Good for you guys, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
thank you very
so
much.
nice.
I do have a question of staff, considering the ladies' concerns about speeders.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a list somewhere where you can look up and see what you can do to maybe discourage that?
Yeah, so Dan might have some specific to Selma, but there are things with what planners call traffic calming measures. So those include speed bumps. It's mostly designs in the roads. Sometimes they call it like a bulb out, where you enlarge your corners so that people have to slow down. In this case, again, not a traffic engineer and not an engineer at all, I would probably say the issue in this case is going to be the run. So it looks to be a very long street. So maybe if there were more stop signs or signals, but those that can't be installed unless they are warranted. But I'll let Dan speak. He knows more.
Yeah, traffic calming measures, again, speed bumps are the most effective, but again, at the same time, we shy away from those for the obvious reasons. We can possibly narrow the curb up in some area to actually provide kind of a pinch point. It gives drivers the feeling that, the road's narrowing and they tend to slow down in those cases. It's something we could look at. And I could look at other measures as well, but there are very few things we can do when streets are long and straight and wide. People tend to drive like they drive.
Well, I was just curious because the lady obviously has a grave concern about speeders, and it
We
is
will
in close
certainly-
proximity to a grammar school and the high school.
We can certainly look at options to make that happen.
Thank you.
How about like a little dip on the street that would not so much affect emergency vehicles, but people with low cars would have a concern and slow down a little bit?
A valley gutter is another traffic calming
Right.
measure.
Because we have them on Nelson and Mulberry, and that kind of forces the people to slow down so they don't really jump basically out of their seats when they're driving there. 'Cause
That is another possibility we could look at, absolutely.
Thank you. I'm ready for a motion if you guys are ready.
And is that what we need to read?
Yeah.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the resolution of the Planning Commission number 2019-08, making findings and recommending to the City Council approval of 2019-0017, a finding of general plan consistency.
Thank you.
I do second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes 5. Agenda item number 4, conditional use permit number 2019-0016. Consideration of a conditional use permit requesting to allow the selling of beer and wine type 20 alcohol beverage license at 1702 2nd Street, Selma. APN number 388-161-15.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioners, the last item on your agenda this evening is a request for a conditional use permit to allow for the sale of beer and wine that would fall under a Type 20 ABC license. The location of the project is at 1702 2nd Street. The request was made by Lion Builders. The project site is located on 2nd Street between Young and Sylvia. The site is currently zoned for highway commercial uses. The request is for a conditional use permit for the sale of alcohol. Previously, the applicant asked for, completed a site plan review. So staff reviewed their proposal for a site plan review. That's a staff level review, application, staff level application. It's non-discretionary. The use of a gas station and service station and office use was approved. Staff evaluated the proposal against the code and found it to be consistent with our code and provided conditions of approval to ensure that. You can see here the site plan that was approved by staff. There are fuel islands facing 2nd Street. There is a proposed 3,100 square foot C-store. There is also in a phase 2 portion office and retail building. The applicant has asked that the Planning Commission grant their ability to sell beer and wine at this convenience store that has been approved. I can show you, this is the floor plan that was provided to us for the C-store. It's also provided at the podium in your additional information packet. This is the floor plan for the office/retail building. These are the elevations that have been proposed. If you need me to zoom in or provide more information on any of them, I can. You can see there is some stone detail proposed, different architectural features and interest to the building, except on the back. As you can see, it's a solid surface. So in this case, the code is quite clear, and my job is to evaluate the project against the code. And the code has set limitations on the sale of beer and wine and hard alcohol for packaged stores. So there are exceptions for restaurants that are serving in-house, and there are exceptions for big box stores in excess of 15,000 square feet, where a small percentage of their alcohol sales, of their overall sales, are devoted to alcohol. So that would be, for instance, something like Walmart or even Walgreens. But in the case of a convenience store, the city's current code states that no new ABC license can be issued to convenience stores that are within 500 feet of an existing holder of one of these off-sale licenses, or within 300 feet of a park or a school. And this site happens to meet both of those criteria. So you can see on this exhibit that is bigger in your staff report, the proposed site is here, I want to say Berry Park is just across the way, and then across the street to the north, I guess you could call it, is an existing C-store with a type 20 alcohol license as well. So because of that, staff recommended denial of this project, and it's up to the commission if you, it's your discretionary action to approve or deny this request.
I have a question. I think the site, there used to be a liquor store earlier when that was demolished.
I'm not exactly sure. The code does say that if it's been more than 3 months, they lose their grandfathering. So, and that's why I couldn't, give it a grandfathering or calling it existing non-conforming. But I don't personally know when it was demolished. 2011. As provided by the applicant.
So city says if it's more than 3 months, then you don't.
I can pull it up right here. So at the very bottom of this code, it says existing uses. All existing uses to which these regulations are applicable shall be considered legal nonconforming uses in regards to the conditional use permit requirement until such time as the use is expanded or modified or the use is discontinued for a period of 3 months or longer, or the changes in character or mode. All existing uses shall immediately comply with Municipal Code sections 11, 8, 10, lists all of them. All existing uses are encouraged to comply with all provisions of this Municipal Code section. And this was adopted in 1994. I did look up a couple other licenses in the area because there are a number of licenses of this type in convenience stores throughout the city that do not meet these criteria. Some of them were in fact issued before 1994. They may have changed ownership or changed in some small way, but they weren't subject to further review by planning. I can't speak to anything that's happened prior to today because this is my first ABC CUP that I'm bringing before you. But all I could do is see, if you look in the ABC license list, you can see some of the years that some of those were approved. But those change. You can track them back. So it might say 2011, but that was transferred from someone else, and you can track them all the way back, but some of them don't. So,
the last CUP we heard for a license for beer and wine was denied because it was within 300 feet of a grammar school.
Okay.
So, and my experience with ABC right now at this point is that Selma is saturated with outlets, many more outlets than a community this size that they would like to see.
Yeah, I didn't get exact numbers on it. If you wanted to recommend approval, I would provide exact numbers to you. I would also provide conditions of approval and a resolution for approval. But because the staff recommended denial, I did not compile conditions of approval because, but I would say that I can provide those numbers to you for saturation, and also that is consistent with what I've seen in many valley communities. I've worked in multiple cities, and most of them are over concentrated. It's a common issue.
Do the commissioners have any questions for staff? No. Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of this application?
Good evening, Commissioner members. Nick Zahoda, 2511 Logan Street. I'm a project manager on this project. We are working on this project since 2016. Throughout this project, the planners at least 4 or 5 times when changed on this project, and we got a building approved on this project already. Went through the project, and the site plan already been approved on this project. And I think this is the great project. We gone over with the city staff, and this is right on the freeway on the 2nd Street, and these are attractive buildings, and we gone over with the staff members far as the designing of this elevations, and these are very consistent with the downtown Selma. This would be the anchors to the Selma, and this lots when sitting over there, it's a commercial highway, and without the ABC type 20, which is only beer and wine, not a liquor, and this would be a perfect fit. Without this, the gas station wouldn't rework. This is perfect spot, and there's already on another store 76 right across it, and this is not gonna create any problems. And far as the licensing, I understand the city has. I'm not sure how many existing right now, and I remember the last time it says that there's a limit, but throughout the Fresno counties, and they are like everywhere whenever the gas stations goes on it, and ABC don't have any problem at all. It's only up to the cities on CUP. And we went told by the planners previously that wouldn't be a problem to start this project. We are so much into it. And we also have here our applicant and the owner is here. And if you have any questions or he like to be mention anything, you.
My name is Deepinder Singh. I'm the owner, and
And state your address, please.
3323 Pendragon Street, Bakersfield, California. There's a long history on this project because we started this project in February 2017 when we were in escrow in the property. The property has been, I will say, I don't know, like the way it is looks now since 2011 when the building was torn down. After that, there was nothing, no movement going on this property. We spent a lot of time and effort. We submitted our first application in March 30, 2017. We got a comment from the then planner, Brian, with no mention of the city of Selma, and the only thing he just wanted to have some engineering comments, fire department, Fowler County District, and that's pretty much. And he also mentioned us to send us a formal application, which we did. We got a comments back in June 2017, but there was no mention of anything that we have to go through the CU process for beer and wine. So that kind of started the whole project. We spent about $100,000 on this project so far. We're going to end up losing about $2.5 to $3.5 million on this project, with the way it has been planned and going like that. These are the letters that we got from the city approvals that was approved by Brian, the then planner. That has no mention of anything regarding the ABC on this plan, and I would like to share this with the council. Also, second thing, let me have one more thing to share. Regarding the less than 300 feet and the 500 feet option, there are 15 gas stations or liquor stores or beer and wine that are between 300 feet. There are 7 stations that are 300 feet next to an elementary school or a park. I can name them. I'll tell you: Leela Market, Salazar Park, Rite Aid, Sheffer Park, Shop and Go, Roosevelt Elementary, Liquor Locker, Roosevelt Elementary, 76 Highland, Ringo Park, Sierra Market, Lincoln Park, Star One Market, Washington Elementary School. They're all 300 feet within these schools or parks. Less than 500, Star One Market, La Estrella Market, Shell Food Market to Walgreens, Walgreens to Save Mart, Save Mart to Selma Wine and Liquor, Save Mart to Circle, Circle K to Rite Aid, Cork and Bottle to Shop and Go to Liquor Locker. These are the stations that are all next to each other within 500 feet or 300 feet. As mentioned by the commissioner, there has been the liquor store called Liquor Cabinet since 1998 on the property, and 1988 actually, the 1988, and I think the park next door has been there since then. So I don't think so. There was always a liquor license in there. I think because of the old building or everything, the guy has to run down and tear it down, and that's where we are. And then I have a copy of that too, since 1988 when the building was. Okay, another thing that I wanted to mention that because of the whole process, the city planning, we had the construction drawing submitted. We bought the property in 2000 when City of Planning Department approved this project, and we told them, keeping as my architects mentioned, Nick mentioned, we went with the downtown team, we worked with the building, trying to put a brick old building because it's a vacant lot, try to bring more traffic and all that stuff. I'm very sorry, but the thing is, I should not be blamed for like staff changes and the planners changes and the engineering changes, Four Creeks, other companies that we have to deal with. At one time, we submitted plans to the grading plans. The city lost our grading plans. So, and then we have to resubmit it, the whole thing. It's just like a nightmare going through. We're trying to work this through the whole thing. And then also, if you look at the Fresno County, today's website, there are 8 liquor licenses that are fall in a lottery system that Fresno County is promoting. So I don't think so, that the saturated, I don't know if ABC has still 8 license for sale or lottery in this county of, Fresno County. So our whole thing is it's very hard for a gas station. It's not an independent mom and pop gas station. It's a Chevron gas station with an extra mile. So I don't think so. It's kind of one of those mom and pop. It'll be. I think the city will be proud of it. We're going to develop about 250,000 of tax revenue, or into the city of Selma. So I think it's very, very essential for this, for any beer and wine license to exist with a gas station, because. And then so I really appreciate if you guys can reconsider thing, and according to the code. Because we were right from the beginning, that's where we did that whole project. And the other station right across the street has beer and wine. That's 300 feet from the same park. And I gave you the list of all the parks. And as a small business owner, we're just trying to put these pieces together. So I don't think so. If some Walmart comes or some Walgreens are 13,500 square feet. So I don't know if the Walgreens or Rite Aid comes today. I don't think so. If the planning commission is going to oppose that. So I'll really appreciate it to reconsider the whole thing, and so all the 2 years of hard work that we all have put and all the money we have spent to reconsider thing, and let us have the beer and wine. We already have a beer and wine liquor license. It's not a new license. It's transferred from some other location. So it's not that they were generating something new. Thank you. If you have any questions, I can answer that.
Any questions?
The Chevron going to be 24?
It'll be 24 hour. It's an extra mile, so it'll be 24 hour, 24/7.
How many employees you are planning?
We are trying to create, if you look at 24/3 in a shift, so 3 shifts, so plus 4, so about 20-25 employees, part-time, full-time. We have also set up a pizza place, so we'll be having about 20 to 25 employees.
Anybody else have questions? Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this project? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition?
Robert Cortez, 1751 South McCall. Living in Selma all my life, I have always seen bars, and they were taken away. But I would say that Selma has too much liquor stores in town. If you look right across the project from this, there is a gas station and they sell liquor there. Okay, you go across the bridge and they sell liquor there. And maybe if you go to the other little store behind that, they sell liquor there in some way. So how many liquor stores do you want in that area? We might as well have liquor stores in every corner. That's my motto there. So why should we put in another type of liquor? I like the project that they do, but without the liquor. That's my saying there. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public portion. You have a question, or you need to use the bathroom?
No, buddy, I'm gonna put that, his question. We are not gonna do the liquors. We're doing a type 20, the beer and wine, so liquor is a type 21.
As far as I know, liquor is still considered, or beer and wine is still considered an alcoholic liquor.
It's a two different licenses.
I'm gonna close the public portion and bring it back to the commission for discussion and a motion.
I like beer.
I can't believe we got this far without them knowing about the C license.
Well-
Yeah, I'm kind of torn because
Yeah,
of that.
because
And
they've been working on it for 2 years. Why is that just now coming up now?
We have found some of those issues.
The other thing
Because then they
is,
wouldn't have spent all the money that they did to invest in the project.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you did, but it's kind of breaking all the rules that we have now,
Right.
just that have been in place for a long time.
and some of the existing ones, excuse me, like a Red Star across from Washington School, that's what, and Australia Market right behind it.
Yes.
That got grandfathered in before this ordinance was adopted by the city. So it's been there a while, and a lot of these have been. The pizza, what is that, Video World over there by Roosevelt?
Mhm.
That got grandfathered in, even though it's right across the fence from the school. But they serve pizza there. They don't sell you a six-pack to take home. You drink your beer on site with your pizza, and so it, in a way, it's a little bit different. But, I mean, this is pretty much black and white right here. And,
Oh, sorry.
Oh, time's up.
I
Go
don't,
back off again.
it's kind of spelled out.
It was. I just, trouble, like you said, that it got this far.
Right.
They spent so much money and not knowing what they could and couldn't do with it.
and definitely, I guess it would be good to see something going up on that corner
Yeah.
instead of being vacant.
Definitely. I love the retail and the office.
Right.
Bring that up to the front instead of the gas station. Good project for you, Nick.
We suggested
I'll
that.
entertain a motion.
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn too, because they've spent so much money and
And like that's going to give a better look, especially on Second Street. Once you come out, it's vacant. Once it's a new building with, and also it's creating.
definitely going to improve
like,
the area.
Yes.
Yes.
Like a lot of employment. Will be getting granted too, I think. So
It's unfortunate that sometimes those convenience stores are not profitable without a beer and wine. Just, it makes up a lot of, the sales. So I don't
Yes.
know. It's just,
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, your hands are really tied by our existing ordinance. And quite frankly, I think the best thing you can do for this applicant is to deny the conditional use permit,
And let him appeal.
allow him to take it up to the city council and talk to the city council about adjusting their ordinance.
That sounds like an excellent thing to do,
all right.
because they
guess
can always appeal it. So,
and I have a question. Like whenever they apply for conditional use permit, do they pay fee here?
they want to apply for what?
If
Like,
they do apply for a conditional permit.
That's what they're doing. They're applying for a
Is there a
conditional
fee?
use
Yes.
permit
is
so
there
that-
any fee?
to sell alcohol.
Yes, the fee that they paid the city to process this entitlement was $5,000.
Were they,
Like
And
legal,
with
like,
that, they can go to city council. let's
They
say.
would need to pay an appeal fee of $1,300. Do you remember it from? I'd have to look it up. It's
were they made aware of this at the time of them paying that 5,000?
Yeah, the 5,000
Yes.
is non-refundable, right?
They were made aware.
Yes. Would you concur? You would concur? Yes, I was. I did tell them. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we never thought of paying that, because we had approved in 2017.
There was a PRC letter sent out in 2017 by Bryant.
Bryant
I haven't found any record of approvals.
You guys didn't find any of it, not even neither the site plan.
It has been difficult to start over a number of times. Each planner had to start over.
Okay, unless the
So.
planning commission or a commissioner asks to reopen the public portion, we're closed. I'm ready to go home. Let's make a decision here. It's like legal says, it's pretty
Black and
much
white.
cut and dried. So, somebody make a motion.
Make a motion, this here, resolution of the City of Selma Planning Commission denying conditional use permit number 2019-0016, ABC license type 20 beer and wine, 1702 2nd Street, Selma, California.
I have a motion. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Can we do a roll call vote?
Commissioner Curry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Fedor,
Yeah.
Commissioner Singh,
Yes.
Chairman Niswander.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oral communications. Does staff or our illustrious city manager have something they'd like to add?
Staff would like to let you guys know that when QK came on board, we had a backlog of projects, and at this point, we no longer have any backlog of projects that need to be brought before you. So you will see an item in October brought to you by Rincon Consultants, but unless any new applications come in, those would be processed in a timely manner. So we would like to thank staff that Sabino, Reina, and both Dan and Joey and Isaac and Teresa, who have helped us significantly with getting up to speed and moving through the backlog as fast as we could. And we thank you for your contribution towards, moving projects forward as well. So that's all I have.
I commend you on working through a log jam.
Thank you.
Oral communications, notice to the public. At this time, any member of the public may address the commission regarding any item which the commission has jurisdiction. No action or discussion will be taken on any item not on the agenda. Issues raised will be referred to the chairperson for review. Members of the public shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Did you have something you wanted to address the?
I want to address my concern a little bit.
His
Go.
concerns. Go ahead.
I think hiring CADA was better because it's just so unorganized for the last 2 years that we have to go through, and we got denied because of the inorganizations of the city people. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Unless you guys have something you want. I'm getting out of here.
So I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Can I have a
I
second?
second that.
Meeting is adjourned.